welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are making some dried ginger powder. If you're following the channel, you know guys that the spices and herbs are so important for a prepper's pantry, and also things like ginger and turmeric are really good for our health. And basically when the things are really tough, if there's no any other medicine available, those things harbor a lot of good stuff. For example, the ginger has the gingerol, which is bioactive ingredient in the ginger, and it helps arthritis and helps lower blood pressure. It's got anti-infection, so if you guys like suffer with cold, you can make ginger infusion, you can add it to the tea. It basically has a lot to offer. So basically today I'm just going to show you how to make a ginger dry powder. I've been making a ginger powder for quite a little while. I've been using the oven, not a dehydrator, for a specific reason, and I literally have a really tiny bit left, so I decided now to make some powder. At the moment, for you guys who's interested, the ginger is quite expensive, and it's always kind of been really expensive. So if you buy this in the supermarket, for you guys in the US who's interested, it's cost just over £8 a kilo. If you buy them, you obviously pick them up in the different shapes and sizes. And the ginger powder, yes, you can buy the ground ginger powder like on Amazon, but it's quite expensive. I think last time I looked, it was talking about £10, I think, for half a kilo. So I've decided to basically get some ginger and make my own for you guys to see, and basically to replenish my stock. So what we need is a ginger root, okay, and I have peeled the ginger root already. Unfortunately, if you worked with ginger before, it's really difficult to peel. It's kind of annoying because it's got this little nooks and bits everywhere. It's kind of awkward, so you have to split them up and then peel them. The reason is I've got the blender here because ginger, initially I thought, before I started doing the whole and researching the whole dehydration process, I thought that if I can dry ginger, I can slice it like a carrot and then put in my dehydrator, and then I can put in the process and it'll be absolutely fine. Well, unfortunately it doesn't work. The ginger, if you worked or not work with this, is really fibrous root, and it's really tough. It's almost as tough as probably celeriac plus added on fibers. So basically, if I suddenly cut this into the chunks and then dehydrate this, they become so hard that the food processor might not be able to cope with that. So basically what that means then, I'm going to blitz this in a processor first before dehydrating it, so it makes it easier for our machine to deal with the strain of obviously the strain of the root. So I have tested that before, right? And I do urge you to do the same. I haven't bothered cutting my ginger into the small pieces because, well, you might have to, but what I've done first, I've put in a few pieces into here, and I put this onto, I've got the ice crush setting, but you might not have this. So I strongly suggest you either try this in the machine, and if you do require, then chop them up in smaller pieces so you don't burn out your machine. So literally all I've done is I just peeled the ginger, and next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to blitz this with the food processor. It's going to be done in a few little takes because, oh, sorry, lilies. I've got quite a lot of ginger here, and I'm going to do a bit at a time. I'm going to blitz it, turn it on first. Excuse the noise. He's going to do this as his own thing. Okay, so we are waiting basically for the ginger, to become like a puree, okay? If you can see that, it's basically just, wood shavings actually, that's a good example of that, with a bit of fiber. So what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna have you on the camera all the time, I'm just gonna blitz the rest of that, and I have some trays ready, the oven trays with a non-stick little sheet here. As I said, you could use dehydrator and it's absolutely fine. However, my dehydrator is really old, and it has a big, not meshy, they're plastic trays and have a big holes, so I couldn't possibly position that ginger with other stuff falling through. Yes, I can put the greaseproof paper, but because my dehydrator's got a hole in the middle, I have to spend a lot of time cutting out the thing in the middle to put basically the greaseproof paper in there. So it's far easier for me just to basically blitz this and put this in a couple of trays in the oven, put them in there at 70 degrees and dehydrate them for a few hours. So this is what I'm going to do next. So guys, here we are, 2 hours later. No, kidding. It only took a little while, but nonetheless, I had to chop some of the smaller pieces because even the ice crush struggled to deal with the fibers and obviously the chunks of the ginger anyway. So we're looking for consistency of kind of a fibrous puree really. It's barely any moisture in them, so we don't have to drain or basically put the towel in there to do anything with this. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop this in the oven at 70 degrees, and it unfortunately is going to take as long as it's going to take because there's quite a lot of it. If you have a dehydrator and you're able to spread this through on, I know some dehydrators come with the sheets, it will be much quicker. I only have an oven that's able to take that, so I'm going to put 3 trays in there and I'll see you when it's done. Okay guys, so we had ginger in the oven for about 12 hours and it's taken forever because I've been doing this in the oven. I had to, every so often I have to open the oven door to wipe the condensation because obviously ginger is kind of doesn't look like it's full of moisture, but when you start dehydrating it, it's quite a lot of it's coming out. So you wouldn't have this problem if you have a proper dehydrator with a smaller little meshy trays. You wouldn't have an issue because dehydrator kind of expels moisture, so you wouldn't have that much of a problem and it will dry out probably a little bit quicker than my 12 hours. However, nonetheless, out of my 3 trays that I did, I've combined this all to one and it's all basically became like a sawdust. So because ginger is quite fibrous, you can see it's got a lot of, looks like what, little hairs. So before I was going to proceed and basically grind the ginger, I've done a small test run to make sure that it's fully dry 100% and it's going to be easily groundable. So I've done a little bit and it's came through and it basically becomes a nice powder. All I have to do is just to sift it. So next step for me, I was using or will be using the little spice or coffee grounder. You can use, if anything else you have, you can use anything that you've got, you know, is going to work. Because I don't have like huge amount of it, I probably could use a big like food processor, but I don't think that would work really well considering that it is really sort of airy and fibrous. So I'm just going to chuck a lot in here. All right. It smells, I can feel it in the back of my throat. It's a little bit like chili. You know when you handle chili, it's in the air. It's got the same effect. It makes you cough, excuse me. Right, so I'm going to lock it up. Have I locked it up? Can't see now, let's try. And let's see if it works. Yeah. You got to pulsate this for a little while. Okay then. So, literally, apart from one that's got stuck in the lid, it's actually ground it up pretty well. Hopefully you can see there. And just, oh my god, that really catches your throat, sorry. Just to be on the safe side, you don't have to. I'll just put it through the sieve, but it kind of looks, I actually put a little bit more than I did in my trial bit, and it's pretty much got rid of all the little strands of hair. Not hair, but you know what I mean. I'll just sieve that through, just to make sure. And guys, I guarantee you, if you do this yourself, yes, it took a really long time. Yes, it's a little bit of an expensive thing, but 100% guarantee you they'll taste 10 times better than the short bought one. You can see I'm already coughing. It's getting my throat just by being in the air. And I never experienced this before when I used to buy ginger powder. I never had it to such an extent. So, sieving it through. Sorry, it's taking a little bit. You can do this with a bigger sieve and you can just do this on the bigger scale. Okay, I can see there's a couple of little woody bits left behind. That's no problem. Yeah, you can see like a little tiny bit like a sawdust things left behind. You probably can still keep it if you wanted to use it for something else. I won't because I want a pure ginger powder. So obviously adding on to the bacon, last thing I want is little chunks or fibers on. So, and we sieve this through and it becomes a lovely, lovely powder. And guys, this is literally as simple as, and I said to you before, do not try and, well, you can try if you want to, if you've got a really super strong processor. You can cut the ginger into pieces, you can dehydrate that, but I found that it takes longer to dehydrate them and it's a bit harder on your machine. So anyway, this is how I do it. I'm sure there's many other ways and options how people choose to do it. This is how I do it anyway. So I hopefully guys you find this helpful. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to thumbs up and I will see you on the next video. Bye bye.